Congresswoman, 17 years in prison. She's facing this for doing her job. U.S. Constitution demands it, actually. Put it up full mask. I want to remind you that while this is a story about a U.S. Congresswoman who's facing 17 years in prison for doing her damn job, this is actually about Trump once again protecting ICE and exacting vengeance against individuals who would dare to speak against his de facto military, ICE. U.S. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver of New Jersey is now facing up to 17 years in federal lockup. She has been charged with 3 felonies: assaulting federal agents during last year's inspection of ICE. This was a nice jail run by private contractors. Okay, they are contractors and subcontractors of the federal government. The reason why she was within her rights is because Congress has the right of oversight. They have the right of oversight. Where does that oversight extend to? Where does it begin? Where does it start? The framework of the Constitution and the statutory language that accompanied the Constitution made it clear. It extends to anywhere your tax dollar goes. Wherever your tax dollar goes, that's where it extends to. So it may be a private contract, but your tax dollars are paying for it, which means Congress, members of Congress, have the right of oversight, period. Here's a reminder of what took place, what she was subjected to during last year's ICE prison saga. Here it is. U.S. Congresswoman doing her job. This is what's being framed as McIver, the Congresswoman, assaulting ICE agents. Okay, that is how they are framing what you just saw. Because of what you just saw, she was charged with assaulting a federal officer, resisting an arrest, and impeding and interfering with federal officers. Then acting U.S. attorney dropped charges against the mayor of the local region, Rashad. She resigned after judges ruled she was serving in her position unlawfully, but McIver's charges remain. She's not standing down. Here it is.
So often in these cases of political persecution, the process is the punishment. The New Yorker notes in December, you'd already racked up close to $1 million in legal fees. What do you think this message sends to Congress members, legislators all over the country if they stand up for their constituents, as they say, as you say you were doing, you'll be personally bankrupted?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. The process is the punishment. This is what they're doing. They're doing this with your taxpayer dollars, prosecuting a member of Congress for doing their job. It doesn't cost them anything because they're using taxpayer dollars to do so. But I think what it does is it inserts fear in other leaders to step up and hold the administration accountable. It's intimidation. It's bullying. And they're just using me as a tool and a prop to do so. And that's why I continue to stress how urgent, like, my case is, not because it's about me, but it's about the broader picture of how they are trying to stop Congress members from doing their job. I mean, and it's awful. But at the same time, that's why I continue to push forward, continue to work for the people of the 10th Congressional District and protect them from this administration, specifically ICE, because I'm not going to let them bully me out of doing my job. I'm just not. They're not going to bully me from stopping my work, and they're not going to take away my joy while I do it.
I want you to look at this woman. Put her up again. She's facing almost 20 years in prison for something that everyone who saw that clip will conclude she committed no crime. She's protected by the Constitution. She's empowered by federal statute. She's protecting taxpayer dollars. It's an inspection. It's a review. That is it. These are the best amongst us. These are our real leaders. You're looking at her. That's your real leader. People like her. Now, she's correct. They're utilizing her as a proxy in order to scare the already scared Democrats. They're already scared. Okay? You wonder why Chuck Schumer caved so quickly. Because he was scared. That's why. And so they will utilize certain individuals who are strong and willing to fight in order to make an example of what may happen to you if you dare to do the one thing that you are on this earth to do. And that's to give a damn. In November, the U.S. District Court decided through Judge Jamel K. Semper to allow two of the charges, two of the three counts, to move forward. And then in January, the judge declined to dismiss the third charge, paving the way for McIver to stand trial. McIver will appeal his most recent ruling. It never should have gone this far. Even with ICE doing the administrative warrants now, where they're breaking into windows and claiming some ridiculously vague and misapplied rule of the ICE Bureau. Judges will have to dismiss every single case that stems from that in order to check the out of control power of ICE. Now, let's bring it back home to Trump. This isn't about Trump protecting a federal agency, because he's not asking you to give ICE privileges of police. He's asking you to do something so much more than that. He's telling you to go beyond that. They don't have to follow the local rules. They can wear a mask. They don't have to identify themselves. They don't have to have a warrant. How would that make an actual good cop feel about their job? All right, Sharon, thoughts?
You know, verification since the beginning of time is actually the only thing that works. It's what makes us human. If we were perfect, if we were always well-intentioned, if we were good, if we were honest 100% of the time, we wouldn't need verification. Look, either these laws are put on the books for a reason, or it's just something that perhaps you would argue with your students, Doc, in class. So dismiss every case, Judge. Let murderers out if you must, Judge, because the greater principle this law stands has to mean something. Otherwise, nothing does, and we are all at risk. That to me is a very, very simple thing to understand. I wish every American would. You're next.
You make a great point about, I know some people are going to say murderers, we can't do that. Well, the American justice system has done that routinely. When prosecutors decided to engage in negligence and violate the rights of the individual to have access to discovery, a speedy trial. Yes, people who actually did it, a judge said, you get to go home because your rights were violated, okay? So the reason that judgment stands is because it shocks the collective consciousness of what the policy will be if you don't do that. What the policy becomes is that a prosecutor can neglect your rights and still put you in prison. That becomes the consequence if a judge doesn't dismiss the unthinkable.